Hello and welcome to our art video. My name's Anne Kinahan. I'm one half of DrinK Art, and Pete, who does the tech, is the other half. Today we're going to look at loosening up our brush strokes, our artwork, to produce some flowers in a pot. So they're abstract, but quite a painterly picture of flowers in a pot, and something that we can all do, whether or not we can draw. We're starting with a square of watercolor paper, but it could equally be lining paper, and I've covered it with gesso first of all, but again it could be white paint, and then I've put a bit of orange on so that we're starting with some kind of colour. The colours we're going to use today are from the colour wheel, and today I'm going to go with dominant greens, so these colours here, and a focal point of this bright pink, and then just to give the picture some added interest, these two spice colours, some blue, could be either of those blues, and these yellows. And so that's what I've got on my palette here. I've got the greens, which are going to be the dominant colour, the fluorescent pink, and then I've got the blues for the spice colour, and the yellows. And I've got some white as well, because that will enable us to make different shades of the same colour. For brushes, I've got a bigger flat brush like this. I've got a small flat brush as well, just for some detail in case we want to use that, and I've got a very small brush just to do a couple of lines of the vase. And I've also folded up a number of pieces of kitchen towel so that we can do some dabbing with the paint. I've got a big tub of water, and I've got my drink, so I'll just have a quick drink out of that. And before I start, because acrylic paint is hard to get off your hands, and you will get messy with it, I've got a bit of hand cream. I think any hand cream would do, and then just rub it in, just to make washing your hands very easy afterwards. Right, let's get started then. So the idea is not to worry what this looks like. So I'm going to dip my paper in the water, and then I'm going to dip it in some of the greens, and I'm going to start dabbing it on. And I can mix the greens up. And I actually put some Prussian blue as part of my greens, because obviously you know green and blue make blue and yellow make green, and so to add some of this in here as well, because I know from experience that it's important to have some darks in the foliage. This is going to be your vase and your foliage, so we want a good mix of colours all over here. But you can see it doesn't matter what you do here. One thing though, it is important to dab rather than to swirl or rub it in, because that will just make a muddy mess. And I think we already know we don't want a muddy mess. We want to be able to see some of the colours, don't we? Some of the individual colours. Another one, just a bit more. see there are some parts where the orange still shows through, and I think that's good as well. Here we go. Right down into the corner. There. Now let's try some of the spice colours. Not so much of the spice colours, but some. We'll try some blues. So we don't want to interfere with the dominant colour, the green, but just a few bits here and there. The idea of the colour wheel is that we know these colours will go together, that they work together and they'll look pretty and interesting. There's enough of that. Let's try a bit of the yellows now. Again, just make it spiced up. And I think that's about it. So what I'm going to do now is leave this to dry. Now, my piece of paper and the paint now nice and completely dry, so that we can do the next exciting bit. And what we're going to do now is create our vase and flowers through negative shape painting, through painting around the outside of our dabbed on green mess that we made earlier. So first of all, I'm going to do the outline of the vase. Now we don't want the vase to be in the centre, so we're going to move it a little bit to the right. And I'm just going to put some white paint on this tiny little brush to do the lines. And let's have a go at painting it somewhere here, I think. Again, it doesn't matter if you get it wrong, just making a nice oval shape. Often if it's not the same on both sides, then it'll just look more artistic. Now we're going for our big brush, and we're going to mix up a background colour. So again, the dominant theme is green, so we want some green, but I'm going to make mostly white and just a tiny bit of light green. So mostly white, lots of paint for this. There. And here we go. So we're just going to paint down the outside of the vase, down to where we think the table might be, maybe across. And the same on this side. Now we have to make a shape. Think of dangling bits of flower. So using this side of the brush is a good idea now, so that you can kind of dip in and out of your flower shapes here, your leaves dangling down. And I'm filming, Charlie. Okay, so just using the edge of the brush. And maybe make it different on both sides. So on this side maybe we can have some bigger indents. Again, it doesn't matter. I think it looks quite nice if some of the leaves go off the edge of the paper. So it's not too neat. Now get some more paint. Let's fill in all these gaps around here. There we go. Now, a fun bit here is to give the vase some substance. So I'm still going to take my big brush and I'm going to go around the bottom of the shape like this. Some paint well in the bottom, and then we're going to use our fingers and we're going to just see if we can smooth some of the paint up the vase a bit. Oh, I've cheated a bit now, I've got some straight off the palette. There. I think this is a wonderful effect. Lovely. I'll wash that brush out well. Now it's time for the focal point. So if we remember that the dominant colours were these greens, and then the focal point was going to be this bright pink. So let's get some of the pink. Dollop of the pink, and mix some white with it, plenty of white. If you mix white with an acrylic colour, then it will cover the colour underneath well. So let's put it in here. Now again, the focal point could go in one of 4 places, but obviously we want it to be up in the flowers. So a third of the way in somewhere, could have been on the other side. That. And now I'm going to put some of the darker pink on to give it a little bit more interest. And I'm going to put some bits of the same colour just around in other parts of the floral display. Maybe just smudge them in a bit. need to make the table colour. Now, when we make the table, we want to leave some of the darker colour underneath so that we can see a shadow where the vase is standing, and that will make the vase look a lot more realistic if we've got a bit of shadow as well. First of all, we have to mix up some green, still green, the dominant colour, but a different green this time maybe. Try some of this. Is that a different green? It is just about different. Leaving just a bit of a dark line around the bottom there where the vase is sitting on the table. And try here as well. Maybe just for fun, blend in where the table meets the background to make it look a bit kind of arty. Wipe away some of that paint there, because that's there. What I might do just go over some of this again, just to make this a bit rinse out my brushes, and there we have our vase of flowers without having to draw anything at all.